started. Megan, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, I do. Good morning, everyone. It's so lovely to be here this morning with you all. After school Professionals Appreciation Week. I just want to say thank you for all that you do for the youth and family and communities in Colorado. We appreciate you so much. I'm a bit about CAP, Colorado After. My name is Megan Nice. I'm the network lead for Colorado After School Partnership, and we're part of a 50-state after-school network that focuses on expanding after-school and summer learning opportunities for youth. And we are a growing network of after-school and summer stakeholders, and we look at policies and partnerships that increase sustainability. We look at quality, and we're just here to support the field because we believe in after school and summer learning.
Thank you so much for hosting this session today. My name is Michelle Timmons with Envision Ed Plus, and I would like to say good morning and welcome to what matters most in after school, and that's you. And today, Tricia and I are going to be sharing some practical strategies for de-stressing yourself, your staff, your kids, and this will actually work with the families you serve also. We have been partnering with Colorado After School Partnership this spring to offer a 6-session series of professional learning for after-school partners, and Megan shared some of that information with you. So we hope you continue to join us, and we would love to see you back on Thursday for conflict prevention and management. And the Thursday session is about conflict management in the workplace, so among adults. So we think it'll be a great session, and would love to see you this week or next week at the Design to Grow event. And most importantly today, we're so excited to participate and collaborate again to offer today's free training in honor of After School Professionals Appreciation Week. We're thrilled you chose to participate in this session, and we want to offer a heartfelt thank you for all of the amazing work you do every day on behalf of Colorado children. This morning is focused on you and your staff so that you can be the best you can be to support your kids and families. And every resource we share today can be used with your staff, and nearly all of them can be done with students and parents too. So what you should see now, I am just dropping in the chat box, is a link to the participant folder. So everything that we share today is in this folder. Just kind of a quick background for us. If you would drop in your name and, what do you do in after school in the chat box, that would be awesome. And Tricia and I are going to just kind of do a real quick introduction of ourselves, and so that you know a little bit about us and the work that we do. My background is primarily at the middle and high school level. I've been a teacher, a principal. I founded a dropout recovery charter school. I've done a lot of work around school-based wraparound and after-school programs, and how to link school day and school and after school to support the academic and non-academic needs of students. Tricia, do you want to take just a minute to share about yourself and just a snippet of our work in after school at Envision Ed Plus?
Glad to. Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here and glad to see all of you today. My name is Tricia Moore, and I have been with Envision Ed Plus for about 4 years now. Prior to that, I worked in a school district, but my job there was to facilitate, develop partnerships with outside organizations in healthcare and higher education and mental health and school-based healthcare for our students. And through that, I worked directly to help set up a couple of after-school programs and to coordinate with after-school programs that were serving the students that we were responsible for, which gave me, great insight and a wonderful introduction to the things that happen in after school. When I joined EnvisionEd Plus, I also became familiar with the Ohio After School Network, which is CAP's counterpart here in Ohio, and became so enthralled and involved that I ended up on their strategic leadership team. So I have been working with the Ohio After School Network to support after school programs here in Ohio for almost just about 4 years as well, and have taken on, certainly a lot of grant writing to help support those programs, professional development to help support those programs, and supporting them in sustainability planning, particularly those that are funded by 21st century community learning center funds, as many of you may be, but also to think about how to make connections with the programs that are relying on, federal funding through other means, self-pay, those kinds of things. And so it's a wide and diverse world of after school. It's pretty exciting, and I'm honored to be a part of it. At EnvisionEd Plus, we have some core values, and they're up on the screen for you to see, or to have seen just a moment ago, that I think are pretty well aligned with the after school and school partnerships that we really try to highlight and support in all of our work. So if we could move on to the next step. This training today was an example of partnership. We got together with the Ohio Mental Health Network for School Success, which supports school-based health and mental health supports, which sometimes aren't actually school-based, sometimes are integrated into after-school and out-of-school programs, and also the Miami University Center for School-Based Mental Health Programs, to put together this training, which we're sharing with you today. This is all about supporting you and helping you prepare, giving you some tools and resources that you can use to take back and support your colleagues and your staff. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in. Thanks for taking the time to introduce yourselves. I'm pretty impressed or pleased to see all of the different roles and responsibilities and parts of, I guess, the country that we're representing, which is awesome. So the first of the activities that we're going to share with you today is one called Don't Burst My Balloon. We're going to do it, we'll kind of walk through an abbreviated session of it together, but you have in your participant resources folder the full instructions for how to do this. And it includes not just step-by-step, but also some facilitation tips. I'll provide a few more too as I'm doing this today. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is use the chat again and drop in your ideas for how this busted balloon might symbolically represent us in this difficult year that we have gone through, to say the least. I'm looking for just connections between how you may have been feeling or how your colleagues may have been feeling, some of the stress that you've gone through. If you could help me out and kind of participate with me, that would be great. Also, as I'm bringing this up, is there anyone else in this room or in this Zoom room who is irrationally afraid of balloons? Because I understand that. I live that and experience it, and we're going to be as delicate with that as possible. It's okay, no worries. So in any case, if you're not typing in the chat, maybe you're thinking about how sometimes we feel deflated. Sometimes we're hitting that kind of breaking point of the that is symbolized by a broken balloon, and that is for a lot of reasons and a lot of things that are outside and beyond our control. By contrast thinking about a full balloon. And I like what Tyler says about strong and flexible, being able to bend with changes as opposed to this broken one that has been deflated. Exactly. So if we can think about this and really facilitate some conversations with our staff and colleagues about how this has changed us, as Catherine says, how they've been dealing with stress and the impact of what we've gone through. Then the next step will be to think about pieces of tape and think about what are some of the protective factors, some of the things that we do for ourselves individually at home, as a first question, to help ourselves feel like a full balloon. Things like breathing exercises, things like exercise, meditation, going for a walk with the dog, knitting. Those are great examples. Also, think about things that you can do at work to help yourself feel like a full balloon. Things like, well, having an HR department that is supporting you, is a good thing. Sarah says journaling, which is terrific. Getting up and taking a break as you need to. Those can also be protective factors that we can place on our full balloon. Now, we've already started to think about this in terms of the broken balloon, but if you can come with me here, and I don't even know if you can quite see the little tack in my hand. This is a symbolism for, well, let's say a global pandemic, but frankly, it could be any sort of unexpected crisis or disruption to our daily lives. When we have the protective factors that the tape represented, the regular walks, the things that we do to distress ourselves, when COVID comes along or some such thing and punctures our balloon, well, we have protection. Now, this balloon is not quite going to survive this activity. It's going to lose a little bit of air gradually. But if we think about the symbolism, we can think about how regular protective activities, the kinds of things that we're going to talk about today, can help us to be able to weather the crisis, and instead of exploding like our other balloon, are able to remain somewhat intact and somewhat inflated. And this activity, done in a longer session, led by you with your colleagues, can lead to some really important conversations about how to take care of one another, how to ask for help when you need it, and build a level of trust and communication. Sometimes we find that our staff and ourselves are afraid to admit when they need something. And so at the end of the activity, that's reflected in the instructions that we've provided for you, there is one final step, which is to offer a balloon to each of the staff members or colleagues that you're doing this activity with, and give this to them and ask them to think about it as kind of a representation of the conversation that you've had, and also as a way of bringing up the conversation again when is needed. So instead of having to come up with the words of, I feel totally overwhelmed, they can say, my balloon's deflated. Can you help me figure out how to refill it? Things like that. So that is one tool that we have for you today. And I promised you a couple of pro tips. There are some in the instructions, but also, given my fear of failure and worry that, oh no, what if the balloon actually pops? I placed my tape ahead of time to make sure that it was perfectly flush with the balloon. I don't enjoy popping balloons, so I had my husband blow it up and pop it for me. These are things that if you have a little bit of anxiety about doing this kind of activity, you can do those steps too. So Michelle.
Awesome. So the next tool that we have for you is a Thrive action plan, or a Don't Burst My Balloon action plan. And so what we want you to think about is in your toolbox, and you know what, I'm going to back up a step, and I want you to see what's in this folder, because there's gazillions of great things in this folder for you. We're only going to hit a snippet of these things during the hour together, but there's a ton of resources in here. So what we've done is we've taken all the materials from the 4 hours of training that we've done on this topic over the course of the last year. And anything from any of the trainings that we've done are in the 2 folders. There's activity guides, there's recordings from our other trainings. There are some of the key things that we're doing with you today are in the main folder. So for example, that activity that Tricia just did with you, here's all the directions for how to do that activity. And again, you can do it with kids, you can do it during a family engagement activity, you can do it with colleagues, anyone you can do this activity with. And in the, there's also what's called a Don't Burst My Balloon plan. And that is this document right here. And so I'm going to walk you through in the chat box some questions that I really want you to answer via chat and share with us some answers to these questions. And this is going to help you jot down your thoughts so that you can create your own plan to help de-stress yourself. Okay. And for just due to time today, I'm only going to do the first 2, but you'll get the idea of how to do it. So let's start with feeling overwhelmed. In the chat box, could you please just jot some notes of what does it feel like or look like when you are feeling overwhelmed? Jot some notes in the chat box. What does it look like when you're feeling overwhelmed? If you would rather talk to us, feel free to unmute yourself. You are welcome to do so. You can't focus on a task. You're overly tired. You're messy. Talking fast and you just keep moving. Panicked, unmotivated. Excellent. Those are all great examples. So when you get this handout out yourself, you just jot some of those things that what it looks like for you in that first box. Now let's think about balance. Balance is kind of the opposite of overwhelm. So if you're balanced, what does that look like? If you're feeling balanced. You feel like you're in control, strong, confident. You feel able. You have the time to get things done. You're focused. You've got a good attitude. Outstanding. These are great. These are great responses. So now what I want you to do is drop in a list of things that you can do or that you already do to move yourself from being overwhelmed to balance. What are some very specific things you can do yourself? Maybe you already do them. Maybe you know someone who does them. Maybe you've heard of it, but you haven't tried it yet. What are some actual strategies that you can use to increase balance? Joke about it. Don't take it so seriously. Breathing exercises, reading a positive quote, making a list to prioritize what has to get done, setting aside some time to just figure out your day, bubble baths, podcasts, breathe, walk away, workout. Excellent. So in that category on the right, where it says strategies I can use, the best thing you can do is take some of these ideas and you jot them down as things that you could do to overcome balance or to become balanced. And Megan, at the end of the session, if you would save the chat box and send it to us, we'll put the chat in the folder. So if you forget some of these things that you said or that others said, you'll have access to them. Okay. So then, now let's talk about isolating. What does it look like if you're isolated? What does it feel like if you're feeling isolated? You don't have the confidence that you can actually do your job. Great. Thank you, Johnny. Now think about the time when you were stuck totally in your house and you couldn't go anywhere this year. It exaggerates your problems and you see challenges everywhere. Great, thank you. So what does it look like or feel like when you are connected? You're not isolated. What does it feel like to be connected? And again, if you don't feel like typing, you are welcome to unmute yourself and talk with us. We have a perfect size audience for chatting. It feels energizing that you have the village that you need. It helps you calm. You feel joy. You can gain perspective. Excellent. Now let's talk strategies. What are some practical things that you can do, whether it's at work or at home, to move yourself from feeling isolated to feeling connected? What are some actual steps you can take or strategies you can use to make that connection? I'll tell you one thing that my family did during the height of the shutdowns. We scheduled, Mother's Day came around and we couldn't be with our mothers. So we scheduled a Zoom call, and I see it looks like most folks on here are female, so you might appreciate this. We scheduled a Zoom call and we sent our moms a link to uh, Kendra Scott jewelry. And together we picked out jewelry for our moms for Mother's Day. And so they could see what the jewelry looked like and they picked what they wanted. Michelle was talking about weekly Zooms. The family's still across the country and they Zoom every Thursday. Sarah has a network of friends that work in the same field so she can bounce ideas off them. And Joni's, reaching out, even if it involves a potential conflict, to just stay connected. And so going out of your way to reach out, these are terrific ideas. And so again, you go across the chart and you fill it in. And you would do the same exact thing for exhausted. How do you feel when you're exhausted? How do you feel when you're energized? What are some strategies that you can go from point A to point B? Right? Now, the next piece of this is where this really gets interesting. And so what you do here then is you look at the strategies you wrote down and you pick one strategy that you're going to try for the next week. So everyone that's on here, is there one thing that you want to try in the next 7 days to help make yourself feel more balanced, more connected, or more energized? You could jot down those ideas of what you're thinking and drop it in the chat box. What's one thing that you could do to make yourself feel more balanced, more connected, or more energized? Jot that in the chat. And it could be something new. Getting outside. 10 minutes without technology. I love it, Michelle. Riley, same thing. Get outside. Okay. These are some great ideas. So you identify what you're thinking. Sarah wants to work out more. And then you want to rate yourself on this bottom right-hand or left-hand corner. You rate yourself on how confident are you that you could do this one thing this next week. And so then you would give yourself a 0 that it's a pipe dream, you're never going to do it, to a 4, I could do this, and I really can make a commitment to do this every day. Laura, that is such a cool idea to compliment others. I love that. So as those of you that are thinking of ideas, give yourselves a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat based on how realistic this is for you to actually get it done. And while you're doing that, pick an accountability partner. Who is one person that you can count on to help make sure you do this? Jack, you're awesome. You've got a 10. Playing with kids is awesome. So who's your accountability partner? Maybe it's somebody from work. Maybe it's somebody at home. Maybe it's somebody that you haven't seen in years, but you want to reconnect with. All of those are great ways to do that. So this is the Don't Burst My Bubble plan. And it's in your materials. You can print it out, write on it, come up with a different idea each week. Do it with a buddy, and you can be each other's accountability partners. And so Megan says she has some friends that she sent them a text and asked them to hold her accountable. And then they stay on her, so she's more likely to do it. And kids can help us also. That is terrific. Thank you. So now, Tricia, do you want to share some of these stress relief resources that are in our swag bag?
Sure can. I think the key to this, because there are so many
Links. Tell me which
in
one.
the swag bag. I'm sorry, what, Michelle?
If you tell me which of these that you want me to click on them, I'll click on them for you.
Okay, I'll get to that point. The key is that this slide deck is also in your swag bag, or in your participant resources folder. So these links are live to the documents that are there as well, and it might help you to be able to organize them a little bit better than they are in the actual folder. In any case, let's take a look at, I was going to say the breathing one, but I don't even see that here, Michelle.
The next slide.
Oh, that's the next slide. Gotcha. The brain breaks.
All right.
All right, so some of these are documents in your folder, as I was mentioning, and some of these are links to outside resources that are, free and readily available. And they'll give you, some samples and some activities that you can do to hit on that strategy that was brought up, I forget by whom, but a few minutes ago, about just stopping what you're doing and doing something else, thinking about something else. Somebody talked about podcasts as a distraction. These are other activities that can work in the same way to just engage in something different for a little while. And there's some specific tips, like separating yourself from the rest of the environment, finding a quiet place to do these kinds of things. And some of them are meant to be done to be more connected and support those that not feeling isolated kind of strategies. So you can see these kind of link and map into that that balloon plan as we shared with you.
Awesome. And so I'm going to show you another one because I think this one is really cool. This is so this is a link to mindfulness music, and so it is 4 hours of music for concentration. So if you just need to get stuff done, and it just kind of helps lower your stress level, you can just listen to it. Or I use it when I do a lot of grant writing because it helps me maintain my focus. There's also this 5 minutes of mindful moments at your desk video. And so again, it's this, she takes you through in 3 minutes. What are some things you can do right at your desk at work to help increase mindfulness? Trisha, back to you.
All right. Well, now can we look at the breathing one?
We can. Which one?
Let's see.
Is it this one, I think, the Japanese relaxation one?
No, that's not what I was thinking of either. In any case, it doesn't matter. It's just that when we do these exercises, I've actually come to the point where I start to naturally do deep breathing because we usually incorporate it into these kinds of trainings, and I'm not even the one who generally presents it. One of our co-trainers, Jim Stillpepper, will kind of walk people through that exercise, and I've become so conditioned to it that right now I actually feel relaxed because in between all of my speaking and comments, I've been deep breathing almost this entire time. And so I love that there's instructions in there that are for doing it, because breathing seems like an obvious natural thing that we always do, but there's kind of a special way to do it to enhance the relaxation effect of that exercise. So sorry, too much about that. Again, these are kind of organized in categories. Some of them connect back to that plan, increasing your energy, feeling connected, feeling balanced, taking care of yourself through like the mindful movements like Michelle mentioned. There's some others there, and taking breaks. The even just some puzzles and games that can be a pretty nice distraction. Here, this mental health mattress website is a pretty cool thing, and they have, you know, a handful of games. Some of them I think would resonate. Playing with bubble wrap is a thing that I think that a lot of us, even though I'm you know, have a fear of balloons, that satisfaction of playing with bubble wrap is a totally different thing. You know, activities with colors and personal approaches to just kind of mini Zen activities. It's good stuff.
All of the links on this page, this is the stress relief games. These are all things that are apps for your phone that are all free. So you don't have to have bubble wrap. You can pop bubble wrap on your phone. How fun is that?
Yeah.
And yeah, my mother does this. She loves to color on her iPad. It's just a really relaxing activity for her. One of my other favorites is a virtual calming room that was created by Trinity High School. I forget where Trinity is located, but they created this for their kids. And so there's sounds and music, visual relaxation, meditation, journaling, puzzles and games, coloring, stretching, all of those kind of activities that kids can do. And it's a link on their district's webpage that they create that is available for anybody.
All right. So now, why don't we take a look at the implementation plan that's in your participant resources folder. So we've put this together just to kind of support you in organizing all of this, as a ton of resources to throw at you in a short period of time. And I know it, you know, potentially requires you taking even more time out of your day to sift through them and figure out which ones might work best for you and for your colleagues and maybe for your kids and families. And you know, an activity and an approach that you could do with your staff to figure out how to incorporate this into your day and your programming might be to just take this implementation plan, use it as a place to record what are the activities we might use, when would we use them, and what would we need in order to be ready to do that. And this is really a very simple action planning template, and you know, kind of a worksheet that asks you to think about what needs done, what are the resources we need. And when we say resources, we mean not necessarily funding, although, you know, perhaps that's a thing. Most of these activities are all free, so you should be able to do them pretty easily, but they do require designating time, maybe a little bit of prep work. Some of them require supplies, like the Don't Burst My Balloon activity. So you could list those and record them here. Figure out who's going to run it, who's going to be responsible for making this happen, and when's it going to happen. Those are kind of the critical steps in the implementation plan. Again, we provide this just to kind of give you a lens to think about how to organize all of these pieces. It's nice to see them and know that they're out there, but if you're not able to take a couple of minutes and pick out the ones that are going to be useful to you, then then we haven't quite served you as well as we hoped. So we wanted to put together this plan for you.
At this point, we are finished with the official session, and we really, we've got our contact information up here. We'll drop it in the box also, and you can, reach out to us through Megan at any time. And we really just want to open it up to questions. If there's any other resources that you want us to show you, if there's any stuff in the folder that you want us to show you, just let us know. And Megan, do you have a specific evaluation you want them to do, or how do you? No, this is just, we wanted you to have the resources and support. Other questions, feel free to drop it in the chat or let us know, unmute yourself and chat with us. Joni, thank you for joining us today. And thank you all for all the amazing work you do for Colorado and Maryland kids. Thanks, Riley. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, we would love for you to join us for Thursday's class on conflict management. Our trainer for that class is Jim Stowpepper, and he is amazing. So please join us for that. And it's ridiculously cheap through CAP. It seems a lot of the time the responsibility for self-care falls on staff. I'm wondering about the messaging on the organizational level to create an environment where so much stress isn't happening in the first place. Catherine, that's a terrific observation. Tricia, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think you're exactly right, Catherine, and I think that that has begun to be kind of a new topic of conversation because of the shared experience we've all had. However, at every level, it kind of starts with us, and so hopefully some of the activities that we've shared with you today are things that program managers, site coordinators, middle level managers, or just colleagues can share with one another to help think about and support one another's self-care. We definitely want every organization from the top down to be incorporating these kinds of things and considerations into the way that they treat their staff and the way that they organize their days. But I think that it's really so important that it takes all of us at all levels to participate and engage in it. And that's why we wanted you to have the resources that we've shared with you today.
One example, we're working, and this isn't a school district, but it could totally be done in an after-school or summer organization too. A district has us spend about an hour every other month doing like open office hours where anyone can log on via Zoom and just chat about what are they struggling with. We always have some tips and some activities, and it's been highly successful. To be perfectly honest with you, you don't have to have us. You could have, if you're in an after-school program that has mental health built into your after-school program, work with your provider and say, hey, once a month, can we spend 30 minutes of your time and do something just to help promote self-care and decrease stress for our staff? That wouldn't cost you any money because you already have a contract for their services. So it's just how to use their services a little bit different. While we would always, be be more than willing to help. If you don't have a connection, obviously, the first thing you want to look at is there a school psychologist that works with you? Is there a mental health professional that works with you? Is there someone that runs programming for kids that would take a little bit of time and do something for staff?
Mhm.
Free is best, always. If it's quality and it's free, do it. Other questions? If you don't have any questions, Megan, do you have anything for us to wrap up today?
I have nothing more. Yeah. Thank you for sharing the resources today. And I just see that Tyler posted something in the chat.
Yeah, Tyler's suggesting that we do this again with free resources to share, which is great. We're glad to keep you guys in our loop so that when we do, occasionally from EnvisionNet Plus side, do this collaboratively with different organizations, like we mentioned, with the school-based mental health organizations here in Ohio. As those come up, we'll be sure to share them with Megan. She can share them out with the rest of you.
Yeah, I think just reflecting on what you shared today, the concept of somebody holding you accountable is good. And, the idea of telling them that they are your accountability partner. And I also really like that plan that you created, just as a way to bring all this information together and really think about like, what are the resources that maybe you want to share with colleagues or your students, and then really thinking through how you're going to do it. Because they're out there, it's just a matter of using them, right? It's a matter of taking the breaths. You know it works, but you got to take them. So.
Thank you everyone for joining us. If you have other questions, feel free to stay on the line. Trisha and I can stay on for a few minutes and chat with you about whatever you need. Otherwise, you are free to go, and thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.